Hey viewers, Platomaker here. Today's video will be discussing casual Smash Bros. Players, professional Smash players and Smash Bros. Gameplay, and the impact this game really has, and what this will have on the future games. With Smash tournaments, if you know a few players around your level, you can have some fun at a tournament with some friendlies or what have you. But if you're really there to have fun, are you really there to have fun, or are you really there to learn, to get better? You can do both, but some of these players are playing professionally. There is a lot of pressure to play at a higher level. I'm sure Sugar not there, and getting competent with one of my characters made me realize why it took so long to play this game correctly, quote unquote. The reason is that it's mentally taxing, and if you work for a living, if you work full time or go to school or do anything else, you don't have the mental capacity to really go all in, right? This might be a way you kind of wind down. You can't really play at that professional level all the time, or even most of the time, if you're really already spent. The term sandbagging, or the sandbag, has been around for a while, and it refers to when a player is playing distracted or doing the bare minimum. They aren't responding or engaging properly, right? They're not really doing everything they could be doing to really, they're not going to respond well, basically. It's a give or take, right? So for them, they're not really giving back as much. So you're trying to read them, you're trying to understand what they're going to do, their gameplay, whatever, and they aren't even thinking. And for some characters, it's easier to disengage and still perform well. You're not thinking anymore, you're just pressing buttons and you're just getting ahead. But once their gimmick is up, that's all there is to it. So there's not really much else to them. You can get past these characters pretty quick. It's a knowledge check. And this game has a lot of knowledge checks. You know the character, or you don't know how to get past them. The characters that don't have a gimmick, the solid ones without the knowledge check, well, they're supposed to be hard to play, and it's really hard to perform well with them, but it's also hard to play around their strategy. Usually. There's a tier list for a reason, though. I'm not here to argue one character over another, nor am I saying you cannot win with whatever character you want to win with. But I will say that it's very difficult to find novel data that would discourage the use of some characters. I think I discussed in the last video too. Pick a good character, period. I've been playing this franchise since 1999, but really got into competitive competitions during the original Wii era. I think 2007, 2008. I think it's 2009 maybe, but whatever. I've been a low tier main ever since then, right? I play around with some high tiers here and there, but never got into it. I never really ventured outside my safety bubble, right? And my social group with some other friends. Who, I'm doing well against them, should be good enough right now. It was for fun, first and foremost, because I was doing other things. And that's okay for the majority of players. But if you want to play competitively, if you want to play the correct way, quote unquote, there's a hard line in what you can accomplish and keep your sanity. Even though even the producer of the game voiced comments to the effect of, play those stronger characters. If you're having trouble with a character, just play them. It'd be unrealistic to try to balance 50 characters in a fighting game. And for there to be strong characters, there has to naturally be weak characters too. That's what makes them look strong. And one way to balance things out is to, between the strong and weak characters, is to adjust the rules for fair gameplay. I don't know the governing body for competitive Smash, nor do I know how the standards are set for these games. But for the most part, the rules seem to stem or mimic whatever the game sets for the online play, right? In the case of Melee, I couldn't tell you. I know they have 4 stocks. I think that's been well tested, well established. That's been since, before 2001. Wow, okay, yeah. It's been over 20 years. I think that game is old enough to drink. Anyway, but for online play, for Brawl and for Smash 4, it's really just followed along their online gameplay, right? I think, I know Smash 4 had 4 Glory for fun, and that was established. And for Brawl, I think it really was just 2 stocks, Final Destination or whatnot. And that was it, right? Okay, the game does 2 stocks, we'll do 2 stocks. Smash 4, I think that was either 2 stocks, 3 stocks. It's been so long, I forget. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure someone in the comments will mention it. But that was it. And Ultimate added an additional stock. I know that much was true. So the truly unfair advantages and disadvantages, such as the death grab in Brawl, was never really addressed in competitive Smash. Pick a good character, If no one's going to police that behavior, why would you pick that character again? If you're picking Ness or Lucas and playing Brawl, someone can invalidate you with the press of a button. Your stock is done. They grab you once. There's nothing. You recover slower than they recover from grabbing you. So they just re-grab you. And that was it. There's nothing you can do against that. You might get lucky here and there, but if the person's not paying attention, they're sandbagging. But if it's a competitive game, you lost at the character select screen. That was a term I haven't heard in a long time. And it still applies even now in some cases. So, with all that said, how does this impact the game, right? Well, not by much. The players playing this match, for instance, said that this was their first title they were competing in, right? They played other games, I'm assuming. I'm sure at least one of the players here had played the previous game casually. It'd be safe to assume that most players are indeed playing this game casually. Even old competitors, people who used to play this game professionally, had a T-shirt and everything, do no longer play this competitively because they have other things going on in their life. I have one person in mind, but I'm not going to jump into that right now. But again, old competitors I've spoken with simply stop competing, and for all the rules and hype around the game, these hardcore players are still the minority, right? They aren't moving machines because people who are practicing this game have the machine already. You're not going to buy another machine. These hardcore players own the machine. That's how they became hardcore. They practice with it, right? So they have one already, and there's a chance they probably modify their devices to awesome effect, by the way, like we're kind of seeing in these matches here. So they're not going to move more machines, and there's a chance that they might be doing other things with their Switch that Nintendo has made very clear that they don't want you to do. Not defending Nintendo, but it's a fact that Nintendo is shutting down certain devices. Let me phrase that. Shutting down access to certain devices for their online play or whatnot. The minority is very vocal. It's free advertisement to bring in friends for events such as CEO. But in the grand scheme of things, you gotta look at the bigger picture here. Like, I had Nintendo stock and sold it soon after Smash Ultimate came out. I think it was like December 17th or something of that year. And I enjoyed the modest bump in revenue. Like, hey, okay, I saved up for this. It's gonna go up. It went up. I sold, and didn't go up as much as I thought it would, but it was still more than it was last year. I'm fine. Boy, did I miss out. Animal Crossing. When that came out, the hype train on that, I still don't understand it. I never bought it, and I know a few hardcore players who haven't bought it either, but I also know a bunch of other players who would have bought it. The circumstances around each release was different, mind you, but casual games matter more because they are casual. People will buy those games. They may not even stick with those games. If you're watching this and you bought Animal Crossing, are you still playing? I spent more time in Jabali Land than my actual bracket. So how would all those really impact the game going forward? I think more emphasis will be on getting everyone playing. I love this game, but even I can't remember the last time I played a doubles match, let alone triples or quadruples. Forget about that. The game can have 8 players. I have not seen an 8-player match in the last 6 years. It is nuts, right? I would love to have competent players playing like an RPG, have a party, you know? That'd be amazing. It's not gonna happen unless online play occurs. But again, it's the Switch. I'm not even sure Switch 2 will even do that. They probably can handle it. I don't think they will do it. Oh man, I haven't played a doubles match, and that includes like I've defended North in 2019 and CEO in 2016. It's been such a long time now that I think about it. But okay, real quick to wrap it up. Pick a good character. It's the notion supported by both the hardcore community and even the developer, as it's the most likely to benefit you playing competitively and avoiding certain hangups. The Veth grab, for instance, that doesn't really exist in the newer titles, but I'm sure there are other interactions that just don't make any darn sense. Pick a good character, you don't have to worry about it. The governing body for competitive Smash. They have to rely on the expertise of more experienced players for obvious reasons. If you're better at the game, you have more insight, you can give more nuanced opinion on how things should be. So I get it. I completely understand why they are catering more to the hardcore community. And when you have more hardcore gamers, you're gonna have it's gonna be more skewed toward that. So people who are not as hardcore eventually leave. That's just a realistic limitation of trying to regulate these events, though. I like to think things are better in the most recent titles, and in the future title, it's likely to have the game will focus more on casual players since even competitive players are leaving the scene. This coupled with the sheer success of Animal Crossing games, or even casual Nintendo games, had a few years back. I know half my viewers probably aren't playing Animal Crossing anymore, but I could wager some of you did buy the game. The hardcore players may not be their main focus. At CEO, I saw a plethora of players with their original Switch, but only saw 2 people with the Switch 2. But that's another topic for another video. Thank you for watching, and I'll tune in next time.